Hi, I'm Sean from Attack Panic and welcome to another question and answer session. I received an email from a student whom I will call PA, and it's a good question, so I thought I'd post it for the benefit of other students and readers. To paraphrase, PA talks about how she's having difficulty in reconnecting with family and friends after being absent for such a long time, to the extent that she can't do it. Every time she thinks about rekindling the relationships, her anxiety prevents her from doing that. She also discusses that I mention on page 160 in Attack Panic not to talk about anxiety conditions to family and friends, and she just wonders whether I've got any advice on how to take that first step. Matter of fact, I do. But first of all, I want to revisit and elaborate what I talk about on page 160. I talk about while you're healing yourself, to not discuss your anxiety condition with family and friends. The reason is invariably you're going to be given the wrong support. The wrong support is completely counterproductive and is nothing more than fuel, is the breeding ground for your anxiety condition, which is a bad habit. The main part of the wrong support is sympathy. Your family and friends have your best interests at heart, so they will give you an ear, sympathetic ear, allowing you to discuss and allowing you to talk about your anxiety condition. The more you talk about your anxiety condition while you're healing yourself, the more you give it power. You are just making the habit even better. You're strengthening it. While you discuss your anxiety, especially with a sympathetic ear, those emotions, the anxious memories, situations where you had difficulty, or the emotions will be based on anxiety or resistance or fear, will flood up to the surface, and all that will do is convince your subconscious mind that in fact you are in trouble and that you need protection, and activating an anxious response. So it's a vicious circle. The more you talk about it, the more power you give it. That's why I say don't discuss it with family and friends. The other point, the other bad support that family and friends can give you are the comments like harden up, mind over matter, it's all in the mind, and just get over it. Whilst that might be actually true, but in the wrong way, you already know this, especially if you've read the building blocks. So for a non-sufferer to say something like that, it's quite derogatory, makes you feel even worse that that person can handle this particular situation, but you can't. So that just makes you more anxious and is completely counterproductive. So that's why I say avoid discussing your anxiety condition during your healing process. There is, of course, the right support, and that is more of a reassuring support whilst you are practicing. So it's supporting your practice, it's supporting your attitude. It's not giving you advice, it's not sympathizing, and it's not telling you to harden up. It's more of a reassuring that you're on the right track. I'll discuss that very shortly. So the next part of the question is how to take that first step. Well, you have to understand the truth. The building blocks will set you up in understanding and believing the truth behind an anxiety condition. One, that it's a bad habit, that you're not mentally or physically ill, and you don't have a disorder. You don't need medication to break a bad habit. You fear the sensations themselves. It's not the situation that you fear, it's the uncomfortable sensations, the anxious sensations that are turning up automatically, which makes it even worse. So you need to completely embrace the truths and the building blocks, because you simply will not be able to expose yourself to that which you are having difficulty with without a level of faith and courage. Because no matter what you do, no matter how much preparation you give yourself, the minute you expose yourself to that anxiety-provoking situation, I can guarantee that your anxious sensations will turn up. because it's part of a habit. But that's okay, because it's okay when they turn up. Turning up, your anxious sensations turning up isn't the problem. It's your conscious attitude towards them that is the problem. And building blocks 3 deals with how you approach or how you deal with those automatic sensations that are turning up as part of a habit. And obviously this building blocks 4 talks about acceptance, talks about loving yourself unconditionally. That's a piece of work and practice that you need to get involved with as soon as you can, because acceptance for what is, unconditional love for yourself exactly the way you are, will heal you, and it will certainly help you to take that first step. The other thing I want you to do is put everything into perspective in terms of when you approach family and friends and feeling embarrassed perhaps about your family and friends seeing you in difficulty. That's perfectly normal. But when you put everything into perspective and understand that every single person has some sort of issue or challenge that they're dealing with, no one walking on this planet that has ever walked on this planet is perfect, didn't have some sort of issue or challenge that they have to deal with. Well, maybe Jesus Christ and Buddha, I believe they were perfect, and maybe the odd monk. Other than that, no person on this planet, living or dead, was perfect. We all have some sort of issue. How we deal with it is completely is a different story. So when you're in a situation with family and friends and you are having difficulty, don't be embarrassed. Love yourself unconditionally. It is what it is. Be committed to your practice. Be committed to a new attitude. Understand that what's happening to you is just a habit, but you will have to expose yourself to break that habit. You will have to expose yourself to the situation to be able to train your subconscious mind and with a new and develop a new non-anxious habit. You have to do this. I can help you prepare, but no amount of preparation will stop the initial sensations from surfacing, because it's part of a habit. So that's how you take the first step. Absolutely believe what I'm saying. Commit it. When you believe it, you can develop the faith and courage that you are going to be okay, that no matter what happens, you can handle it. The next thing that you can do is, once you've faced your family and friends with complete unconditional love for yourself, explain what's been happening to you, and also explain that you are on the road to recovery, that you are going through a program and you're taking steps to develop new non-anxious behavior. And you do need their support, but the right support. So the right support is what they say to you and how they treat you. You do not want them to mollycoddle you. You do not want them, family and friends, to treat you any different. You want to get on with your practice. If you're having difficulty, you don't want them to ask you if you are okay, because you're not okay. That's okay. You don't point out their problems, so you don't want them to point out yours. You want them to reassure you that you are doing a great job. You want them to say things like, you can do this, no matter what happens, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're doing a great job. This too shall pass. This is my favorite one that I still use to this day, is feel the fear and do it anyway. Those are the sorts of things that you want family members and friends to say to you, even if they can see that you're having difficulty. You don't want to be treated any different. Just tell them to get on with the task at hand. Stop asking if you're okay. That's the biggest don't. There is another big don't that you will instruct or coach your family and friends on, and that's stop giving you advice. Advice from a non-sufferer is completely counterproductive. It will just make you feel bad, because it'll come across as quite condescending. And That's it. That's how you take the first step. Understand, believe, courage, and faith, and just do it. Use the building blocks to give you the tools and the right attitude, and commit yourself. And you're going to be anxious. There's just no way around it. But you have to do it. You have to expose yourself. And the right support, obviously, is to give your family and friends some coaching. Give them the instructions. Tell them what you want them to say to you, even if they know you're having difficulty. And that's keep practicing. You're doing great. This too shall pass. Feel the fear and do it anyway. No matter what happens, PA, you are going to be fine. And don't ask me if I'm a bloody K, because I'm not. But I'm committed to my practice. And don't tell me what to do. That's it. I hope that answer adequately deals with this question. Hope it was helpful for you listeners and students out there. It's a good question. That's why I thought I'd post it. Until the next time, namaste.